Guys, I spent my first $1,000 on Facebook Meta ads. Today I'm gonna share the 3 lessons that I learned. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. I'm gonna get right down into the details. I'm gonna explain what I went through. Then I'm gonna explain how I'm going to get to my first 10,000 in ad spend. And then I'm gonna show you the results at the end of the video from this first 1,000 that I spent, okay? Some context, if you are a marketer, you're interested in having your own agency, your own business, you want to start by running ads. I think you're smart. You should do it. You absolutely should. I think this is going to be a great lane for you, but I think you need to watch this video first. If you are a local business owner and you're looking at running your first ever ad campaign here on Facebook, you got to watch this video, all right? I am in no means a guru, an expert, a tech bro, somebody that is trying to sell you a course. I'm just trying to explain exactly what I went through, because I see a lot of people not being transparent on where they are today. You know, you see these guys who are selling courses and doing all of these coaching offers, and they don't necessarily explain what it took to get there, or walk their audience through the struggles that they had to go through, the failures that they went through, some of the lessons that they learned. Some of them do, but not all of them. And I think there's a lot that can be learned from these lessons that I'm about to teach you today. So if you're a marketer that's trying to start your own agency, or a local business owner trying to run his first ad campaign, or you're just simply interested in Facebook Meta ads, guys, check this out. Watch this video. At the end, I'm going to show you exactly what we return on $1,000 of ad spend. Lesson 1, leads don't matter, quality does. Lesson 2, ads don't fail, systems do. And the third lesson's ads expose businesses' weaknesses. So some more context. We were spending $30 a day, and we were marketing for a local moving company, small team, 2 owners. They hire out movers to help run the moves. Every single move, right? They don't have full-time employees. It's just the 2 owners doing all of the behind-the-scenes work, the marketing, the sales, and coordinating the jobs, making sure they have the proper equipment, all of that stuff, right? So it's a 2-man show. Both of these guys work full-time jobs, mind you. They don't do this full-time, and that's the goal. We're trying to get them to do this full-time. We're trying to help them get there so that they can leave their 9-to-5s, dive fully into the business, and make that sustainable for them and their family, right? So that's some context, bigger picture of kind of the client that I'm working with. But to go back to the ads, we were spending $30 a day. We spent $1,008 from December 11th, 2025 to January 14th of 2026. And I'm gonna explain why leads don't matter, quality does. So at the beginning of running the ad campaigns, we were running just a simple ad, and we were running basically an offer. And it was one of the owners just explaining what that offer is on camera, talking with captions and some things going on in the background and some music and some engaging visuals, right? Then we had just a simple video of the guys moving. Like, that's literally all it was, is me following them through the house from the top floor all the way to the truck. So simple, but I think it brought in a good amount of leads. I think it was somewhere right around like 9 or so. And then we had a picture ad, testing that, and then we had I think we had another video of them just moving through the house, because I was finding that those were doing really good, so I made another one. And then we had another ad that was them talking about who they are, what their company does, and where they're from, and kind of just a background into them to try to generate awareness. Thought that might have been a good idea. Turns out nobody cares. Really, nobody cares. Maybe a few people did, who are like 60 or 70 years old. Like, look at these guys are cute. But that's besides the point, right? What I learned from running these different types of ads is that the offer ad, the one where the owner was talking about what they were offering, which was 15% off all moves, now from December 11th all the way to February 28th. So we're still about a month away from that deadline, okay? And people they're still engaging with this ad today, now that we spent a little over $1,300. Those ads were running. You kind of get a general idea of kind of where my mind was at and what I was thinking that would work and perform well, and what we had out there going for us. We started running the instant forms. They were doing well. We were finding that the quality just wasn't very good. People were we're not really engaging. So one of the first things I did was set up automated text because I had heard that getting in contact with the lead and hitting them up within the first 5 minutes greatly increases your sales chance, of making that sale, right? So that's what I thought would be a good idea. Come to find out that that's not the most effective way to get a hold of these people. You gotta call them. They want to hear you on the phone, and it's probably the best way to grab their attention. If they see a green text pop through, they're probably going to be like, oh, what's this spam? Like, this is just one of those companies that just, spams me, and how can I trust them? Green text can kind of get their reputation a little bit slimy. And so what we learned is those instant forms at the beginning that we had a few questions that we were asking just weren't ideal. They didn't get us what we were looking for. It took a long time for the lead to come in all the way to the quote being sent out for the customer to review and look at and kind of see and get just a grasp on how much their move would cost, right? It took a long time to do that. I think on average, I don't have the data for this. This is something I need to do going forward. But on average, lead to estimate was probably, I don't know, a couple days, 2-3 days. And I know that's not good. So we all together realized that we have to tighten up a lot of things, especially sales process things. But what we learned from running that first instant form was that we needed to ask way more specific questions. We needed to ask things that brought out the real details so that the next step they could do was get on the phone with them and ask them, I see you are looking to move from this city to this city. You want to do these items, and you're looking to do this on the 15th of February. What else can you tell us about your move? Blah, blah, blah. What is your starting address, ending address? Let's get the rest of the details, and then I can send you an estimate on this call, and we can reserve a day for you right now on this call, right? And that's the idea. That's what we were trying to work towards, and that's where we got to kind of towards the end of the first $1,000. But where we started was not where we ended, right? So what I'm trying to say is leads don't matter, quality does. We could have had 50 leads come in off the first form that we had, and we probably would have sold, I don't know, 2 to 5 of them, real low percentage. And that's just the nature of kind of what we were doing at that point. We were asking people and giving them a low barrier of entry to see if they could get a quote, right? People are just going to shop around, find the cheapest price, and go with that company, right? But that's not what they're trying to do as a moving company. They're trying to provide a service that has a reputation, that's known for handling things really well, solid, all of these things, right, that you want to portray yourself when you own a local service business. So what we had to do is we had to get real specific with the instant forms. We had to go through and we had to ask more questions, like I said. So we needed to waste less spend by using the instant form and find the people that were actually invested in spending 5 minutes to put in their information to fill out the form. Because we had to ask, I think, around 13 questions in order to get to what we needed to get, in order to call them and then send them the quote and have all the details for that. And that's going to take an investment on their time, right? So we don't care about that. We would rather have 5 leads, convert 4 of them, than have 50 leads and convert 2 to 5, right? So the contact rate is the KPI here. We don't need all of these leads. And that's something that I knew going into it, just didn't know what that looked in real time as I was in the business myself, operating what I'm trying to build as an offer and have it be scalable. I just didn't understand that there's some other ways to, increase friction on the sales side of things, right? I think maybe I'm speaking out of terms, but friction in my eyes in the sales process, you don't want to have a lot of friction. You want to have it be a seamless process, right? You want to have them filling out the form or seeing the ad, filling out the form, getting on the phone, and then, becoming a customer and moving and effortlessly walking through all of the steps and processes it takes to go from not knowing a moving company all the way to having your stuff move from one house to the next, right? That would be your sales friction. You want to decrease that as much as you can. But when you're trying to qualify somebody, you want to probably ask them and have them jump through more hoops so that they are more invested. The intent on their end is it has to be higher, because if it's not, then they're not going to spend time, waste their time giving out their information. They're just going to keep scrolling like they were before when they were on their phone, because they were just, mindlessly scrolling. Okay. So leads don't matter, quality does. And if you don't have quality, if you can't generate quality leads, you're going to just be chasing your tail. So that's what I would say, guys. Lesson number 1, didn't learn it right away. Took probably 2 weeks to figure that one out. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. And I couldn't have done it if I didn't, at least put myself out there and try. So lesson number 2, ads don't fail. Systems do. And what that means is you can have terrible copy. You can have horrendous visuals, and you're still going to bring in leads, because there's going to be somebody that's looking for what you're trying to say. And that's just kind of the nature of it. Does that mean your ROAS, your return on ad spend, is going to be high or low? I don't know, right? That's up to you. But what I can tell you is, if you don't have systems to convert those leads that come through, if you don't have a way to have somebody that's always going to be on the phone calling these leads as soon as they come through, then you're just going to be wasting your money as well. So you can go through and you can take my advice on building out forms and landing pages that answer or ask all the questions that you need in order to get to the next step in the sales process, move them down the funnel and get them into a converting customer. But if you can't do that, then your ads, they're just not going to work. They're going to work, but you're not going to work them. Like, do you know what I mean? It's going to be there's going to be no structure. It's going to be chaos. There's going to be no system. There's going to be no results. So like I said, you can have 50 leads, but because you don't have any systems in place to call these people, to follow up, to send them quote follow-ups, to do all of these things to nurture them, you're not going to convert them either. You're going to be sitting at 5-10% conversion rate. And that is just not going to cut it to make a successful business. So ads don't fail, systems do. And you have to, they're touchy. There isn't a template for your business. So if you're a plumber right now and you're watching this, or you're going to do ads for an orthodontist, like you can't have you can't copy and paste what you did for the plumber for the orthodontist, right? It's just different clientele, different ticket. It's just not gonna work, okay? So you're gonna have to be finesse. You're gonna have to be more of a ninja than you are a brute that can crank out, 50 clients, that can go out and cold call until they pass out, then wake up the next day, do it again, and have 100 clients but retain 2 of them, because you're just trying to make a lot of money and actually not provide value. Okay, so ads don't fail, systems do, guys. You need speed to lead. You need to dial that in. You need to take your customer from filling out a lead to being on the phone with you within the first 5 minutes. If you can't do that, then your chances of closing them or getting in contact with them is going to go way down. Now, if your forms are good, your landing pages are good, and you told them that you're going to follow up, they could be expecting you, and you could call them back a day later, and maybe they'd still pick up the phone, right? It's not saying that's not going to happen, but if you're going to run ads, you're going to spend money, you need to have proper systems set up, because you're just going to be throwing money at nothing, okay? So ads are kind of like the front door. It's like you're walking through it, and then systems are the house, all right? They're going to either be impressed by what's inside the house, or they're going to be like, this is junk. Why do I want to come in here? Why do I want to come drink a soda with you in your kitchen? You can't even call me back, or you can't even address that you're running an ad and you're asking me to spend money to you to do something that I need done. Like, what? I can't. Well, how can I trust you? So not only that, if they can't go in your house, if the ad is the way that they open the door and see inside the house is cluttered and messy, then you're wasting money. If you have no follow-up process, you're wasting money. Systems fail ads, okay? So I would recommend, do not run ads unless you have a sales team, whether that's yourself and you have documented SOPs, or you have, that's pretty much probably all I would say. You need to have a sales team. You have to have processes in place. There's really no way to get around it. If you're putting it off, if you haven't had the time to sit down, or you just didn't know that you needed that, you need to sit down. You need to talk about, what do you say on a call when you're trying to land a client? Let's say you do construction or renovation, right? Oh, you need a kitchen done? Cool. So how many cabinets do you have? And what kind of color are you looking for? No, you'd be like, all right, how many cabinets? So we have these colors. We've got cherry, we've got blossom, and we've got dark oak. Looks like our calendar's booked out until the 25th. You get what I'm saying, right? I'm kind of rambling here. Ads don't fail, systems do. You don't have a sales team? I don't know what you have. I think you're wasting your money. You're not gonna be successful at running ads. You're just gonna be throwing money at the wall. I think I've already said it like 6 times. Lesson 3, ads expose businesses' weaknesses. So guys, it's kind of like lesson 2. If you don't have a sales process, you don't have somebody that's dedicated to closing these leads, you're gonna be leaking money. You're gonna be throwing $1,000 and losing money because you don't have a way to follow up. You don't have a proper system in place to call these people back that you sent an estimate to, right? You could have $16,000 of estimates. But if you never call them back after you've given them the estimate, then how can you expect them to reach back out to you and say yes? Maybe if you're a world-class service provider, right? You're an industry leader, but we're talking about local businesses in local cities. You have to call these people back. They're gonna forget. They've got stress. They gotta go pick up the groceries. They gotta take care of their kids. Their car needs an oil change. Oh, and then they have to work a 9 to 5. They're working 40 hours a week. They're gonna call, or they're gonna answer to the people that keep calling them or keep getting in contact with them or keep showing them that they care, okay? So if you have ads, they're out there running, you don't have a sales process, you don't even have a quote follow-up process, you don't have any type of follow-up process, you don't even document that you called somebody and then told them that you'd call them back in 3 days, then I don't know what to tell you guys. You're just not going to make it. You have to do these things. These are standards that I think cavemen can follow. And if you're not doing them right now, don't feel bad. Look at where humanity's at now. We can make it work. We can figure it out. All I'm saying is ads expose businesses' weaknesses. If you have them, you gotta patch them quick because that $1,000 might return you $500, $300, $200, maybe even $0. I don't believe that. I don't think that would happen, but it could, and I just don't want that happening to you. So take my advice, get some of these things squared away before you start running ads. This is something that I wish I would have told, or wish I would have had somebody tell me before I started running this campaign with this local moving company, because they did not have any of this set up. And that is no diss to you, Austin and Luke, if you're watching this. This is a beautiful opportunity. This is a beautiful place for us to be in. We've now went through it. We realized what it was. We made adjustments. That's what entrepreneurs do. We solve problems. We have solutions for things, right? All right, we're gonna be fine, guys. You're gonna be fine too if you start running ads and you realize, holy crap, I don't even know how many people just submitted a lead. So yeah, document stuff. Write it down. Whatever you have to do, write it in a journal. All right, you don't need a fancy CRM. I am a huge advocate of CRMs, especially Go High Level. I'm not selling you an affiliate link yet, maybe in the future, but that's beside the point. Organize, okay? If you run ads, you have leaks in your sales process, you're not fully polished, you are going to be wasting money. Okay, so I've spent $1,000. I cannot wait till I get to 10K, if that is what the Lord provides me with, is opportunities to get to 10K, spending other people's money and generating money for them, helping them feed their families, helping them build that business of their dreams. I can't wait for it, and I am so excited. And I want to tell you guys about the lessons that I learned from the first 1,000 that's going to get me to the next 9,000, right? So I can get to 10,000. Number one, I'm just scratching the surface. I am like a minnow in the ocean, swimming around. There's freaking whale sharks out there. I am scratching the surface. The knowledge that I have, that I just passed on to you guys, take it, run, use it. But again, know where I'm at, know where you will be when you get to $1,000, and hopefully you'll be better off than me. But the knowledge that we have right now is minuscule to what we'll have 10 years from now, and I can't wait for that. That's what gets me excited, because I don't ever want to stop learning, whether it's ads or history or how the market works. I don't want to stop learning, and I'm excited to just keep building. So that's what I would say is I'm just scratching the surface, and I think it's important to keep that mindset as you go forward. Because if you think that you get complacent and you think that, oh, I just generated a ROAS of 4x, right? You quadrupled your dollar in spend. You get complacent, then your business topples out, it bottoms out, or it hits a ceiling and it can't grow anymore. And your family's depending on you, but you can't bring any new clients in because you're not adjusting to the way that the market is changing, the way that Facebook is messing up their algorithm on the back end. That's a whole can of worms, but you're not doing the things you need to do to get to that next level or progress or learn more and stay afloat and all of these things that can be tiring, but you need to do to be in this industry, then I just don't think you're cut out to make it to your next 10K, and I don't think I would be cut out to make it to my next 10K. So I'm realizing that I'm where I'm at, but I have a lot more to learn. The next thing is I need to learn how to build custom audiences so that I can retarget those audiences. I think this is gonna be huge. I'm seeing a few people do this on YouTube, and I think this, once I learn it, is gonna be monumental for my client's success. So now that I've been running for a little over a month, $1,000 in ad spend, approaching $1,300 right now with this moving company, I need to learn how to build custom audiences so we can retarget it, because there's people that have seen our ads so many times already, and maybe they just aren't ready to pull the trigger. They're gonna be moving in 2 months from now, and they're just thinking and putting it off and being like, oh, well, I've got some time. Well, really, you kind of don't. You probably should figure that out. But there's ways that we can hit them up with nurturing ads, with ads that are gonna be warming them up to, sorry, I said the business's name. And we can have those put out so that those people can get comfortable with who these guys are, the owners of this business, and then hopefully when they have that decision and that day comes when they have to move, they can go with them because they've been hit up with the retargeting ads, and we're effectively running those, and everything looks good on the back end, and they're getting targeted by, reviews and things that are just, helping them move down the funnel. They're being nurtured, okay? So that's another thing that I need to learn in order to become a weapon and get to my first 10K and be successful. And the next thing that I'm realizing I need to do is build a creative testing workflow. So the ads, guys, they can fatigue pretty quick. I've seen from my first $1,000 spend that it takes about a week before your ad that is doing really well kind of just like falls off the map. It's starting to be seen by the same people a lot, which is called your frequency. And you can take that by taking your impressions divided by your reach, I believe. That's how you find your frequency, but there's also just ways to filter that in the Meta Ads library too. But you wanna have a flow. You wanna have new creatives coming in on a regular basis, on a schedule, right? And I'm trying to figure out what that looks like at this budget that I'm working with right now, $30 a day. It looks probably different than somebody that's spending, 20 grand in a day or 5 grand in a day. I need to get comfortable with building a creative testing flow and also finding apps like AI and, finding the best ways to come up with those that are high converting at the same time, and constantly looking for new things, right? Because, yeah, people just see these ads, they see them a couple of times, and it doesn't annoy them, but, you start to check out, you see it for the third time, you're like, oh, here's that one again. Scroll, scroll, scroll. So could be good in the long term, trying to figure that out still. I've only been in here for about a month and a half running ads, but what I'm noticing is that I want to grab those people that are about to move right now so we can build out and fill the schedule of the moving company, months out in advance, or, the following month, right? So that's where I'm at. Just scratching the surface. I'm so new. You guys are too. And you need to learn how to build, and I need to learn how to build custom audiences and retarget them. And I need to learn how to build a creative testing workflow. And I believe if I can nail these 3 things, keep in mind that I have so much more to learn. Holy crap. I believe that I'll get to 10K in no time, and I'll be generating some really, really good results for people. But like I said, I wanted to show you at the end of the video how we did, and that's what I'm gonna do here real quick. So you'll see I ran 1 ad campaign, and I'm finding out that I should be running maybe not 1 ad campaign, all right? I'm gonna test different things, but right now I would recommend running 1 ad campaign because that's what I know, that's what I did, and it worked very well, right? And it's starting to really pay off now that we're tightening some things up on the back end. And I'm not seeing like a ton of loss, right? I'm seeing a lot of gain. 1 ad campaign, I'm seeing that $30 a day is not, it's not holding us back, right? Okay, so we generated 52 leads total at $19.39 per lead, which is, from my knowledge, that's a pretty good number for the home service industry. Moving, right? These move jobs cost anywhere from $450 to $2,000, $3,000. All right, so if you're bringing in that amount of leads on $20 to spend, less than $20 to spend per lead, man, I can't wait to see what their CAC is, their cost. Somebody broke it down today, and I forgot what it stands for, but it's cost of client acquisition cost, CAC. Got it. All right. But we spent $1,008, 52 leads, $20, less than $20 a lead. Frequency was a little over 2, which isn't bad at all. That's probably healthy, honestly, from what I've learned. Cost per click, $2. Click-through rate, 1.24. Click-through rate is the percentage of impressions that received a link click out of the total number of impressions. So 1.24% of these impressions clicked the link to fill out a form. Did they do it? No, because that would be a lot of people out of 42,000 if 1.24% of them did it, but they did click it and they looked at it. So that's not bad. That means that people are engaging with it. They're seeing that the offer is compelling and they like the copy and it's grabbing their attention, okay? So that's a healthy CTR. The rest of this stuff doesn't even really matter. I'm finding that you don't need to know how long people are watching it. Obviously, you want to know that it's retaining their attention, and you can go in and break that down by each ad, and I'll show you that real quick. But it's not gonna really determine the successfulness of your company or your ads, right? So that's what I would say, guys. $20 a lead, 52 leads. Great first start. When they thought they wouldn't get any leads, I said we'd get 30, about 52. You can see it here. I'm not lying. That's what it is. So I want to break down what that translated to, because obviously you're a business owner, or you want to be a business owner, or you are a business owner. You want to know how this went, and that's what I want to share with you guys. So we have this funnel right here. I call this just the sales funnel. So it has all of the different stages that a lead would walk through, and we had 16,000 in estimates sent, right? So that means that they got into contact with people and they were able to send an estimate value, an opportunity value of 16.1K. Like that's actually like life-changing for these guys, and even for me too, as I'm just starting out. Like that is a huge amount of money, and it's just proof that these ads were working, and they are working, and they're doing very well. But like I said in lesson 3, ads expose weaknesses in your business. If you can't close those, or you can't close a majority of them, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. And if you have systems, or if you don't have systems, especially if you don't have systems, you need to have them, guys. But if you do have systems, you need to make them better. You have to be constantly testing and trying new things, okay? but we generated a total of 1.4K in moves, so we broke even. Just full transparency, I charged $500 to set up everything. I understand that is highly undercharged, but this is my first client. I don't have any testimonials, I have no results, I've never run ads before. They were taking a complete chance on me. Like I said, they were so skeptical, didn't even think I'd bring in one lead, about 52 in. I know it says 45 right here, I'm not really sure why Go High Level says that. They're finding some complications with their meta to Go High Level like communication. It's a little bit off sometimes, but I'm new to it, so I'll figure it out. Anyways, guys, we completed 1.4K. We had 4K scheduled and booked out of the 16.1K, okay? And then some other money was left over in the follow-ups. So these are people that still follow in the estimate sent, or they still fall under the estimate sent, but we hit them up, you know, a couple times with automated texts and things like that, which we've changed completely. Like, we don't really even do those anymore, and I'll get into that in a later video. But for right now, this video is about showing you how my first $1,000 in ad spend went. And you can see here, opportunity value, like I said a couple times now, $16,110. $2,867 were lost. So those are leads that they got in contact with, sent them a quote, and then found out that they decided to either move themselves or went through another company or just, you know, said no, okay? So that's what that is right there, but insane. 16.1K is a pretty darn good start for the first month, for the first $1,000. And I'm really excited to see where we go moving forward. And that is that. That's my first $1,000 of ad spend. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I would love to hear your feedback. I want you to roast me. I want you to tell me that I'm retarded. I want you to tell me all the things that I messed up on, because I want to learn. I'm curious to learn. Every comment, every feedback that you guys give is something I can learn from. So I'm really excited about that. So thank you guys for watching this video, and we'll see you later.